Hello everybody and welcome to Real Outdoor Adventures. I'm super excited because I finally did it. I finally bought my own two wheels. As you can see here, I have got the Supermach Tank 200. It's 168 cc's. It is a scooter, but technically in PA, an engine this size makes this a motorcycle. So this is my very first motorcycle. Yay! I've never ridden my own motorcycle on my own. I've always been on the back of a Harley with my boyfriend. Now we moved out to the mountains and the forest and we do a lot of exploration. So now I have my own two wheels that I'm going to be able to do that with. And what's great about the Tank is that it has the kind of tires that you can actually go off-roading a little bit with it. So super excited that I finally have this bike that I can go off on my own and have my own adventures if I want. Before I get too far into the video, I just want to tell you guys I am really impressed with the shipping. We ordered this through Real Deals Now on Amazon. I know everybody's has horror stories about how long they had to wait for their tanks and how many times it was delayed, but we ordered mine on a Friday and I had it by Tuesday, and that was with a 1-day delay. So super impressed with the shipping. Also, a lot of people are saying their paperwork was not included. They had to go through a bunch of hoops to get that paperwork in order to get it titled and registered, but my certificate of origin actually did come with my tank. So yay for that. That just makes life so much easier. And the packaging was amazing. It was very well packaged with a metal crate and everything was all bubble wrapped nicely. So super impressed with the shipping. Bike came completely unscathed. Okay, and now to move on to what this video is really about. So, as a lot of you probably know from watching videos and doing research, the Tank 200s, when you order them online, they do not come with an instruction manual as to how to assemble your tank. Also, you can't find any good videos on it. So I wanted to go ahead and give you a guide and kind of show you how I assembled my tank. Which parts I did first. I'll give you a close-up view of which nuts and bolts I used on the parts as I went. You know, I'm not a mechanic. I've never put a motorcycle together. I've never done any work on any kind of vehicle, but I was able to do this with a little bit of assistance doing the heavy lifting from my man. So with some deductive reasoning, a little bit of assistance, and a guide, you should have no trouble at all getting your Tank 200 together. The first thing I have to do is I have to remove this box, which as you can see, the tank came in a box. The box was well wrapped up in plastic, so if I couldn't get around to building it right away, it was going to be okay for a day in the rain or whatever. And inside the box, there is a metal frame, a metal crate, which is supporting everything, and each part is individually wrapped in bubble wrap. The whole bike's wrapped in bubble wrap, but as you can see here, all the parts are wrapped in bubble wrap. So it was really well protected from getting any scratches. So the first thing, of course, I had to do was remove that box, remove all the bubble wrap, and I removed the top and the sides of that metal crate. But I'm going to leave the scooter, as you can see how it's supported in the front there. The back tire is also being supported by that crate, so I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to move the handlebars up into that slot where they belong just to have them out of my way. So you want to leave the scooter on that bottom rack. It's going to help you and you'll see why. So I started out with the easiest stuff first. And the easiest thing was to go ahead and put on that exhaust cover over the exhaust pipe. The next thing I did was I went ahead and I removed this top rack by removing these 4 bolts. And I didn't show it, but I also removed this plastic front piece because I'm going to need to screw down and tighten down those handlebars later. Next up, we are working on the rear shocks. First, you have to take the bubble wrap off of them. The shocks will release, and then you have to line them up. And I'll show you. You have to slid it into that slot, put the bolt in, and tighten them all down. So I went ahead and I tightened the right-hand side down. And then I got my man who went ahead and tightened the left side down for me. So next up was the back shocks. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put that center kickstand on, because once we pull the bike back and we engage that center kickstand, it's going to lift the whole front of the bike and make it so that we can have an easier time getting that front tire on. So there you can see where we screwed in the bolt and what bolt we used. And then we had to go ahead and line that spring up, and the kickstand's done. Now we'll be able to lift the whole bike up, engage that, and we'll be able to get that front tire on easier. Since it was easy to do and they weren't going to be in the way of anything else we were doing, we went ahead and did the handguards next. That little metal clip went on first, and then we were able to go ahead and put the screw in and get those handguards tightened on there. So while the man was taking a break, I decided I wanted to go ahead and get these front side guards on. And you can see here, this is where the bottom is going to attach. You can see the hole there where the bolt's going to have to screw in. You have to cut this black plastic piece out first. They didn't cut that, so remove that plastic piece, and then you'll be able to line up the bottom part is going to go there, and then the top part is going to attach right there. And we're going to put the bolts in and then tighten them down from the front. And you're going to want to use this because it has the special extender on it, which will actually fit right inside the pipe, and then you'll be able to tighten that down. I wanted the man to tighten these all down for me, make sure I had them tight enough, so I didn't put the little covers that go on the end of the pipes, but there is like a round cover, which I'll show you later. As we're finishing up the bike, I'll show you putting those on there. But you're going to need this bolt, and like I said, you want to use that tool with the extender so that you can actually get in there to tighten these bolts down. So I've got, as you can see here, I went ahead and I did that, and this is how it looks when it's done. It's pretty cool. I like that it has the side guards, so if I ever drop the bike, it'll at least prevent it from getting scratched up a little bit. But I was able to successfully get those both on by myself. And I'll tell you, it was a pain, but you can do it. Now we are ready to move on to the front tire. First thing we have to do is remove the brake from that post there. You need to unbolt it a little bit, loosen it up, remove that plastic spacer that's in there, because that's where we're going to slide the metal brake plate that's attached to the front tire. You're going to remove this metal bar. Do not lose the bolts. Those are the bolts in the metal bar you need. That slides through the tire. That's going to attach your front tire. As you can see, we used some extra wood blocks, and we set our kickstand up on that. You can see there how it is being supported by the metal frame, how we have those sitting there. And now the bike is lifted, so we have easier access to getting that front tire on there. Now, once we got everything lined up and got the front tire on there, we tightened everything down, the 2 bolts on each side of the tire. As you can see here, both sides, tightened them down as well as we could. And then we had to come back in and tighten all of these bolts and get the brakes back on where attached to where they're attached, and also they are now attached to the metal plate of the tire there. So as you can see, sorry if I'm not that great at explaining it or naming the parts. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic, but if you're actually watching the video, I'm sure you can see what I'm talking about here. So we're just tightening everything down, and front tire is going to be good to go. After the tire, I went ahead and I added these little round black caps that I was telling you about that go over all of the openings on the front guardrail. You will need to tap those lightly with a hammer to get them to go all the way in, but there is 1 cap for each of these, so you should have 4 total. And so I just went ahead and I did that next. Now we are ready to go ahead and go back and tighten up the bolt to the steering column and finally get that officially tightened down. And Richard is going to go ahead and explain to you the right way to tighten down this steering column.
When tightening the steering column, make sure you turn to full lock. Have somebody hold the handlebars and the tire at full lock, then tighten down. That way there's no slop in your steering.
Once we were absolutely positive that the steering column was as tight as it could be, I went ahead and I am putting on this black top plate back onto the top, and I use these little screws for that, one in each side. And once I have that screwed down, I'm going to come back through, I'm going to put my front rack back on here, and I'm going to get that all tightened down. And I am using these longer bolts. Sorry if I called them screws. And there you have it. Top rack is back on. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and attach my mirrors to my bike. As you can see, they go right here above the headlight. It's kind of in the same spot on the other side. It just screws on. You can see that black bolt right there. This is so you can screw and unscrew it. Don't tighten it too much until you have the mirror arranged the way you want. Once you have it arranged the way you want, you'll be able to screw it or unscrew it and move the mirror around, get it where you want it, and then you can tighten it down, and you'll be able to cover that with that plastic thing that you see there. So you can see I've installed both of my mirrors, and that's it, you guys. This is what it looks like. Pretty much done assembling the entire tank now. The only thing that's left to do is add the battery, and then put the battery cover on there, add a little gas, add some new oil to it, get rid of that old oil if there's any in there, put new good full synthetic oil in there, and bike's going to be ready to be started up for the first time. So in the next video, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a video of me starting it for the first time. We'll see how she sounds, and I'm going to be ready to take it for the first test drive. So I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. It doesn't seem like there's been any real good informative videos where they pretty much just don't even show you anything. So I hope that this will be a little bit of a guide for you, and you'll successfully be able to put your own tank together. So if you did find it helpful, please don't forget to give me a heart and follow me. There's going to be a lot more videos to come about this sweet little Tank 200. And I'm going to tell you guys every time I end a video, happy trails and happy riding. I'll see you in the next video.